Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in Columbus, Texas. Now, as we get closer and closer to one of my personal favorite holidays, Christmas, we of course start thinking of all the famous characters that go along with it. And chief among them, the big man himself, Santa Claus. We're here at the Santa Claus Museum in Columbus, which claims to be the only Santa Claus museum in the entire South. So you know, it's got to be something really special. Let's go check it out. Come tag along.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
The Santa Claus Museum opened in 1990 and is absolutely filled to the brim with jolly Christmas spirit. In this one location, you can currently find 5 different collections: the Hopkins Collection, the Lumen Collection, the Hubenack Collection, the Potter Collection, and the Redis Collection, all of them containing Santas of varying degrees. I figured as we take a look at this wonderful collection, we can also discuss the history of Santa Claus. Now, there are tons of different stories when it comes to the actual history of this jolly old fellow, but one of the more accepted versions is that he was loosely based on St. Nicholas, a bishop of Myra, which was a town that is now in what we call Turkey. This was around the year 270, and he gained a reputation for being an anonymous gift giver. Apparently, he would go around and not only pay the dowries of poor family girls, but he would also hand out little treats and coins and such to children. Usually he would actually put them in their shoes that the kids would set out at night for that purpose. That kind of became what we see now as Christmas stockings. Once he died, Nicholas was canonized as the patron saint of children. Things may have died with him, but the tradition was continued on by the Dutch, who kept the story alive under the name Sinterklaas. And this was supposed to be a bishop who would travel around and deliver treats to kids. And we didn't see the modern name Santa Claus until a story that appeared in a New York City newspaper in 1773. So, we've only really had Santa Claus for roughly 250 years. Since then, things have kind of been added here and there that have made up what we see today as Santa Claus. Something that I think is very interesting is there's actually a very strong tie from Santa to something that we think of as Halloween. Washington Irving, who wrote the very famous Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman, is actually the one who is responsible for the characterization of Santa as a portly, bearded man, and is the first one who mentioned that he slides down the chimneys. This came out in 1809. Another beloved story, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Clement Moore, gave us the very famous 8 tiny reindeer, as well as a little bit more about Santa and his great goal of giving out toys all over the world. But really, the roots of what we see now as Santa Claus come from the one and only Coca-Cola. Sometimes referred to as Father Christmas, Santa was shown in a lot of different clothing options. That includes different colors. There would be green Santas, brown Santas, kind of that more nature feel, even a couple of black Santa outfits out there. But when Coca-Cola decided to use him as part of their ad campaign, that really cemented the red classic outfit that we all know and love. This was really seared into just everyone's general ideas of Santa way back in 1931, and that's really the foundations that we've built off of, and we've never looked back. It seems that as magical as Santa may be, the Christmas magic comes in second place to all the marketing magic that he's able to pull off. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest marketing moves beyond the Coca-Cola campaign was the very first time someone decided to do a department store Santa. This started back in 1890, and it became a tool to get children to want to go into stores, and of course when they were in the stores, the parents that came along with them would do lots of shopping. Ever since then, that's taken off, and to this day, you can find Santa visiting all kinds of stores and malls during the holiday season. And for every great man out there, there is a great woman right behind him helping take care of him and steer his path. Mrs. Claus really came into being around the mid-1800s, about 1849, but she wasn't necessarily widely circulated until 1889 in a poem where she was there helping him get ready for his sleigh ride and everything. But since then, the two have been wedded in Christmas bliss. Now, it's a good thing that Santa has plenty of magic at his disposal, as his sleigh happens to be the fastest vehicle ever. There's about 2.5 billion children out there in the world that Santa needs to visit, so in order to hit them all, he roughly has to move at speeds of about 1,800 miles per second. And I'm not sure that factors in him having to get out and deliver the presents at each one too, so he is definitely a speedy little guy. And as we all know, those responsible for carrying him all throughout that night are his very, very lovable friends, the 8 famous Christmas reindeers. But arguably, the most famous and popular of his reindeers is actually the 9th one, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You might be surprised to find that Rudolph is another product of marketing. He was invented in 1939 as part of a promotional Christmas advertisement for the Montgomery Ward department stores. Though Montgomery Ward may not be around anymore, I think it's safe to say that Rudolph very much outlived and outgrew any kind of marketing campaign. Now, zipping through the sky as quickly as he does, you may be worried that he's not doing this completely safely or legally, but not to worry. Santa Claus actually has his very own pilot's license. It was issued by the U.S. government in 1927. So for about 100 years now, he has very legally been flying these skies. As a matter of fact, they actually track Santa all throughout his very famous flight every single year. This reaches all the way back to 1955. There was a misprinted phone number in a department store ad that a young child called trying to talk to Santa. But because the number was written wrong, instead of reaching Santa Claus, he accidentally called the Continental Air Defense Command, which was an operations center in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Air Force colonel on duty, Harry Shoup, he answered the call, realized there was a mistake, but he said he was Santa and happily made that child's Christmas. But the calls kept coming in. Soon, they gave an actual department over to this that were all answering calls from kids wanting to know where Santa was, and a new tradition was born. This government force became NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, and now every year on Christmas Eve, children can call in or check the website or even an app that they have now to see exactly where Santa is on his flight and know when he's getting closer and closer to visiting their house to make sure they're asleep in time to get all their wonderful Christmas presents. In a world that is constantly in need of more magic and joy and happiness, I think Santa Claus stands as an icon of the goodness of people and the wonder and magic of Christmas. And who knows, as long as you've been good all year, he might just be sliding down your chimney this Christmas Eve.
Oh, I don't know about you, but that certainly put me in the Christmas spirit. Well, thanks for tagging along. That's all the time we have for today, but if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and then comment below where you want to see us go next. All of it really helps us out. And if you're interested in getting a really cool postcard from somewhere on the road every single month, you can check out our Patreon. Link will be below. My name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. Merry Christmas to you all.